Well, hi there. It is currently Friday evening, the release date of The Woman in the Window. I have been anticipating this movie for a year and a half. I think the release date was originally supposed to be October 2019, and then it got pushed back because everyone hated the test screenings and it had to go through rewrites and there was a bunch of development hell around it. And then they were gonna wait and release it in theaters, and now it's on Netflix. I looked it up this morning and it's got a 31 on Rotten Tomatoes, which is about what I expected from the trailer. I think it's gonna be not good. I don't know if it'll be so bad it's good. I think it's just gonna be really safe because there's a ton of big name actors in it. I think they just kind of want them to be bankable. But I did show my husband the trailer for it. He's agreed to watch it with me. And he said, I've seen this movie before. It starred Shia LaBeouf. And he was talking about Disturbia. So then we watched the trailer for that and like, yeah, they're extremely similar.
I know what I saw.
So this week we also watched Disturbia and it was a good time. It was very much like a 2000s bro movie where there was a lot of male gazy stuff that was uncomfortable to watch, but overall like a pretty good time, pretty tense. So I'm excited to see how the two compare. So yeah, I think we're gonna order some popcorn from the movie theater and make a whole night out of it. We should probably talk about the book, since this is a booktube channel. I read the book in, I believe, 2018, which is when it came out. Somewhere around there, and I really enjoyed it at the time. I think I gave it 4 stars, and I know that it's sort of gotten a worse rap as time has gone on, but I was still fairly new back into reading then, and so I didn't find it quite as derivative. Like the alcoholic woman, unreliable narrator thing hadn't gotten old for me yet, but I do remember it being exhausting. Like, there's not a ton to it. It's a pretty simple story. It's got some good reveals, but there's not a ton going on, especially because she's like trapped inside the whole time. I'm excited to revisit it at least. I do feel like I remember this one more because the movie has been a thing for so long that I keep getting reminded of it and thinking about it again. I don't know if AJ Finn has written anything else since then. I wonder if it's been any good. I wonder if he was involved in the movie. I don't know a lot of things. Maybe I should just shut up so we can watch it. Oh no. What have we done?
Are you ready?
I'm ready. See you in an hour and 41 minutes. Right? Okay. Did I say we're doing spoilers? We're doing spoilers. Prepare yourself. So it's the next day, obviously. We really didn't have any hot takes after we finished the movie, so I figured no rush to wrap it up. It was fine. It was very safe. 31 feels correct for it. And my husband didn't really have anything to talk about either. The only thing was he didn't see the family, so the husband and the kid being dead the whole time. Which was good, but I also didn't like how they did it. It feels like something that just doesn't work in a movie because basically she would call them on the phone and the movie wouldn't show them. Like normally in a movie, even if it's a side character, you would cut to them also being on the phone. This is a phone. My overall feelings about this are that it was fine, but ultimately I do think this is unadaptable. Or not adaptable to the degree that you would like it to be. Just by nature of, you can't be in the characters' heads. Also, I do think Disturbia was better. That's the hot take here, is that like Disturbia was scarier and had more interesting visuals, I think. Well, the world felt more interesting because Anna's house is beautiful and enormous, first of all. How she can afford that house in Manhattan, beyond me. I don't know, just for some reason Disturbia worked a lot better for me. I have some notes. Let's talk about specifics here, starting with Julianne Moore plays Catherine, who's the biological mom, and she comes over and they do their whole chat. It was well done in the way that they insinuated that she was the wife, but she wasn't really. But I didn't like Julianne Moore's acting, and I didn't like how she and Amy Adams played off of each other. I didn't get friendly vibes from them at all. I also seem to remember in the book she came over twice. That might just be me. It's been a while since I read this. Also, she was in it for one scene. So truly she filmed for one day and then left. Like, same with Gary Coleman, probably one day. This movie felt like it was just for Amy Adams. Amy Adams wanted something to flex her acting chops on. There were scenes where she did a really good job, like when she's recording her last will and testament. That was well done, but for the most part, I didn't love her in it. When we started the movie, I was excited to see that it had an R rating. I was hoping that maybe that would help it elevate itself somehow, or like do some really interesting gory stuff and stuff that you don't get the same impact in a book as seeing it on the screen. But the only R-rated thing that I can think of that happened, because there wasn't even a ton of swearing or no nudity, nothing like that, was in the final altercation. Amy Adams gets a, what do you call it? It's like a mini rake. Here's a picture of it. What is this called? This gardening tool on her face, like into her mouth. And it was upsetting, but it was also extremely brief. Definitely not worthy of an R rating from what I can see. I did also look up the Wikipedia page because, like, I know that this went through some reshoots and stuff. It sounds like it ended up being very different because they did have, I believe her name is Bina. She was the physical therapist for Anna. And they did cast someone for that, but then they never showed up in the movie. That would have helped something, because in the movie the only person she expects is the therapist. The other person who is there is David, her tenant. I didn't like him. I don't know if it was good acting that I hated him or that he was bad. I seem to remember in the book that they slept together. I definitely got some vibes from them at one point. You know, the are we gonna kiss or are you gonna stab me vibes, naturally. I don't remember him being so mean or sketchy. There was a part where I legitimately thought they might change the ending because David was just being real skeezy, which I guess is a testament to the movie that they made me think, but no, they stuck with the original ending, which is the kid did all the murders. In the movie, there's the father's assistant also died. I don't remember if that happened in the book, but the kid killed them there too. I like the idea of it being the kid because I never suspected them, but I don't think it's very exciting. Also in the movie, Anna's supposed to be a child psychologist, which, like, I don't think she is. I think that's a lie, and we never see her actually psychologizing anybody. Was that in the book? Literally no idea. But I did look it up, and the kid, he's supposed to be 15 and a half, very specifically 15 and a half, and he was 20 when they filmed it. Imagine if one of the Stranger Things kids had been cast in it. I feel like that would have immediately given it a different vibe, because it doesn't work as him being a grown man, and it doesn't work as him being a 15 and a half year old. One thing that the book did better was spreading out the backstory of her family on that winter vacation where the car accident happens. And it plays a lot better because you think that Anna is lying about her and her husband being separated because, like, the husband hates her. And you can very clearly see that, like, he wants to get divorced and to get away from her. But then it's actually that they've been dead the whole time. But in the movie, it's only one scene of them in a car. She's accused of cheating, which is then never brought up again, and reaches for her phone and runs the car off the road, which, like, yeah, don't touch your phone when you're driving. Everyone knows that. No one was going for the phone, Anna. It's all your fault. But I do seem to remember her taking the daughter back up the snowy cliff to, like, try to find cell reception and stuff, and that the kid was dead the whole time and that it was really dark. but they didn't do that in the movie. Maybe I am inventing the book as I go along. If that wasn't in the book, wouldn't that have been cool and tragic and sad? Everything you want. The other thing that they didn't include from the book was Anna's in like some online forums for other agoraphobes, and she makes friends with this 80-year-old woman from Montana or something, and it's actually the kid catfishing her. And I understand why they wouldn't have included that. Like, I think in movies in general, it's a good call to take out anything that happens on a computer. It doesn't play well visually, but it would have given the kid more to work with. And it would have made him seem smarter. Because apparently he's just been living in her house for the past week. And she's like, how did you get in here? And he's like, I've always been here. That doesn't make any sense. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. The last thing I want to talk about is the visual style of the movie, because the Rotten Tomatoes consensus, you know, they have that thing, talks about how it's full of homages. And so Anna watches a lot of classic movies. They never say why in the movie, but there are quite a few blatant instances of, I think, the director being like, hey, I've seen a movie before, let me mirror the style of one of these, seemingly willy-nilly to me. There's this one shot where she's in a rocking chair and she's like going back and forth, and you see different things as it goes, which was a fine shot, but felt out of place and show-offy. The other one was the dual camera. I don't know what this is called. I'm gonna put it on the screen. But basically, a camera can't focus on two things at the same time. Like something in the foreground and something in the background. The background one will blur. And it's supposed to give like a weird, uncanny feeling. Because you know that something's wrong, that it looks wrong, but your brain can't quite figure out what it is. This might sound weird if you don't know what I'm talking about. Google it. But I did notice a couple of shots using that camera, which again just felt like, hey, I've seen a movie before, I'm gonna do this thing, because I didn't really feel like it added to the atmosphere at all. And it all happened while she was watching the old movies. So it felt like a very easy one-to-one thing. One other thing that they did was every day has a title on it. Like when the next day happens, it says Tuesday and then Wednesday, which I really think was dumb. They're trying to pull us into Anna's confusion, like she doesn't know what day it is sometimes, or she'll be talking to someone and then suddenly they won't be there anymore, or the opposite. And I thought that labeling the days was really counter to that goal. It would have been really interesting if it had been like, yeah, I saw him yesterday, and then they're like, he's been dead since 1942, you know? You can't have it both ways. Like, you either have to commit to it being confusing to the audience to mirror what's happening in Anna's head, or you have to make it super clear that this woman is off of her medication. Those are all my thoughts. Watch it if you want. It wasn't a bad time, but it didn't really give me any vibes. I wasn't tense. I wasn't emotionally invested in any of the characters. Watch Woman in the Window if you want to, but I think reading the book was better and a better vehicle for this type of story. But really, watch Disturbia. If you can get over the weird male gaze and the outdated language, it's a good time. It's a decent movie. Who knew? Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me rant, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.